I now give the floor to the distinguished representative of Honduras to introduce an address by the head of state.
Good morning, Your Excellency, Mr. President, Mr. Secretary General, and fellow delegates. To all those who dedicate themselves to this noble mission of this institution, thank you for the opportunity. It is my honor to speak to you as the delegates of República de Honduras, addressing the importance of gender equality and the rights of women in politics. A female leader of one of the traditional Honduras parties said during a work meeting that the law is on our side, the attitudes are not. I am now sitting in front of you to present evidence to the contrary. Neither laws nor attitudes are on women's side in Honduras political system. The situation seems to be stacked against female politicians. The political system has a weak electoral design in terms of gender, with mock compliance and informal practices that undermine the spirit of gender parity. The electoral system is exclusive, with hierarchical and vertical political organizations that perpetuate sexist microaggregations, and social movements are weak, with little coordination about how to move forward with the electoral reform process. The current rules do not help require parties to select women, who make up the majority of the population, as a candidate. These rules are weak, unclear, and stated in the regulations rather than the laws, leaving them open to interpretation by political actors. The broader women's movement in civil society and political parties should thus see in the 2019 electoral reform process as an opportunity to push for and demand a serious electoral reforms that level the playing field for women. Honduras women are up against adverse attitudes, practices, and threatened compliance, despite all the regulatory and institutional efforts to make competition and the exercise of power more equal. The structure of incentive electoral rules needs to change to force parties to select more women as candidates and allow them to be elected and hold office without experiencing violence. Party members and leaders commit gender-based political violence because they can. They commit this violence because it has no repercussion for the party, because people do not seem to care, and therefore it has no political end or electoral cost. In this regard, politicians are not the only ones responsible. The general populace should ally itself with female politicians and emphatically refuse to further a political system set to democratic but which in practice excludes women from decision making. If voters use their power at the polls to castigate leaders who curtail women's careers, and if they refuse to vote for candidates with a track record of gender-based violence against other female candidates, and instead vote and participate in a way that creates more room for women in politics, politicians will very likely understand the need to democratize the Honduran political system. Lastly, the change has to go beyond simply regulating behavior and then letting preparation of without punishment or feigning compliance with formal rules. Rather, what is needed a cultural shift that involves questioning men's power over women, roles, stereotypes, and the different forms of exclusion that permeate Honduran society. A crucial part of the strategy is feminizing politics and society, with an agenda pursued jointly by men, women, and others, to bring about the cultural shift needed to transform the way in which politics are understood, run, experienced in the country. Thank you for your attention. Good morning.